chapter on photojournalism ethics focuses on when journalists are forced to reconcile personal choice and professional responsibility. To do this, many photojournalists utilize ethical frameworks such as utilitarianism, absolutism, or the golden rule. Even considering the NPPA's Code of Ethics, there is still the occasional gray area when it comes to ethical decision-making. It is difficult for a photojournalist to completely avoid exerting any influence over subjects or photos, but there are definitely elements that we can control to minimize our influence and to present the most accurate and comprehensive representation in our photos. A common temptation for photojournalists might be to remove any distractions, like trash on the floor or distracting shadows from the background of a photo, to make it a cleaner or more aesthetically pleasing photo. But sometimes this can be misleading and not representative of what happened in the photo. The book highlights photojournalist Alan Detrick, who was found to have published 79 photos that had been altered, including photos of a basketball game where the basketball was edited into the shot. Clearly, the basketball was not in the frame when this picture was taken, and that can be misleading of what was happening during that time and can be what was happening in the game, and can be editing a basketball into a shot when it clearly wasn't there to begin with changes what was happening in that moment of the game and misleads readers.
So in terms of altering history and in terms of that, an example was Adnan Haj, who tried to do international news for Reuters, cloning and intensifying plumes of smoke from smoldering debris. His digital deception was spotted by bloggers who constantly scrutinized the controversial image for it. So there are some people who try to help the photo in terms of making it look good, but sometimes it can get controversy, especially to sensitive spots where the areas might happen for it. It can tarnish the reputation, which happened to Adnan right here because he got fired and they withdrew over 900 of his photos, believe it or not. Sometimes photographs are doctored for political reasons. So with propaganda and manipulation, some people do it intentionally, sometimes not on purpose, but intentionally in order to make a statement or to do something like that. There's a good practice, there's a bad practice, because regardless of it in journalism, digitally removing people from pictures, trying to make them, it never ends, but it can cause some consequences. For example, in the Iranian newspaper, Jam, which spotted the original test weapons of the missiles, with the alteration of it, they wanted it to believe like none of the missiles were duds and that they had fired correctly. But again, with journalism and in photo, you always want to tell the truth. And sometimes, even though they try to make it look like the hero, sometimes it's important to make sure to always tell the truth because you never know when it backfires.
The text explains that the camera does not see the way the human eye sees. Photography represents but does not reproduce reality. So the argument that the final image is true, even if no human hand adjusted it, does not hold up. Photoshop must take that into consideration. The text, however, highlights a potential solution or way that photojournalists can think when questioning whether they should alter their photos or not. They propose that we ask who benefits and who loses by altering the photos. Is it the photographer, the editors, or the reader? If a photographer thinks their photo would just be prettier by taking away distractions, or the editors think that they will have a more aesthetically pleasing spread, that might not constitute a need for altering photos. However, if altering a photo can help the readers see what's happening in the photo better just by some minor light or tone changes, then that can be beneficial for them.